Welcome back to our podcast. This is Layla, and today the title of this episode is the Billionaire Codes. And so the information I'm going to share within this episode is usually found, in my programs, in my courses, in my containers. But I wanted to share a bit of a sneak peek, and I wanted to share the formula to create, for creation. A lot of people think that manifesting $1 million is harder than manifesting, $10, which is false, right? We know that when it comes to money, we can manifest any amount. What usually gets in the way is the level of resistance and the subconscious story around that amount of money. And, sometimes people put on a pedestal certain amounts of money as well. So this episode is really for people who have already achieved a level of success. So you've already earned your first million at least, and you want to scale, you want to expand. So this is what I mean when I say billionaire. Some people are going to achieve that billionaire status, but, at least when you're aiming high, you know that whatever amount you end up with at some point, it's going to be aligned with what you actually need in your life, okay? So when it comes to the embodiment of the billionaire, okay, it's not about money. That's the thing. It's not about money. It's about being the version of yourself who naturally attracts, holds, and multiplies wealth with ease and certainty, okay? It's a frequency, it's a mindset, it's an energetic presence that magnetizes high value opportunities. So the first tip is to have this unshakable wealth identity. So the same way you've earned your first million, okay? You didn't hope for it. You didn't wish. It's the energy of it's already yours. So when it comes to $1 billion, it's the same thing, literally. You have to see yourself as a high value, highly resourced being, of course. And you have to trust that money flows effortlessly because you're aligned with abundance, okay? We all have 24 hours within a day. And the way that we can explain that some people are earning $100, $1,000, 10 grand, 100,000 and more, it's about their frequency. So it's literally always the same formula. It's always the same thing. But of course, if we have a story that's like, when I'm gonna become a billionaire, I'm gonna have so much work, or the IRS is gonna go after me, or whatever, like whatever fear that comes up, that's what we have to clear. It's not more effort. It's that basically. The second tip is to, of course, be relaxed and certain, when it comes to your energy. You don't want to chase, force, or beg. You only attract and allow. Of course, there are some people who have become a billionaire through many different ways, okay? But a lot of times people focus on the negative ones. They focus on the people who were very aggressive, that used a very egoic mindset to achieve it. And a lot of times these people are also mentors. So unfortunately, a lot of people are listening to that and they're like, this is how I have to be. I have to be this apex predator. Of course, you want to be a certain type of predator, but being a predator does not mean preying on the weak or preying on, children or animal or nature, you can prey on other predators. All right. So again, within that same mindset, okay? You have to move with grace and ease, okay? Knowing that money responds to your certainty and not desperation, okay? So it's always the same formula. It's always the same thing. But what we have to do is we always have to embody that version, and that version of ourselves who already has it. And it's a practice, it's a lifestyle. It's not something that's overnight. And you know that already, right? But it's the same thing when it comes to becoming a billionaire. Okay, so you also have to make decisions from power and not fear. That's the thing. And I think it's JP Morgan who said it. So millionaires don't use astrology, but billionaires do. So you have to know, as a billionaire, you have to know your chart. You have to know exactly what you came here to do and how to align with your highest path. Of course, you have to master every single house in your chart. So that's why it's a mastery. That's why it's a course that I give, because it's not something that you just, do once, or it takes weeks, honestly, and weeks of extreme discipline. All right, it's not hard work. It's discipline and consistency and the right knowledge, of course. The third tip, of course, is to make high value choices and boundaries, and to have boundaries. You have to protect your energy in a way that is very different when you became a millionaire. It's very different because at that level, everything gets amplified. So you have to, be comfortable in solitude. You have to be comfortable in letting very few people in your circle. Of course, a lot of people tend to be attracted to billionaires because, they want to take, right? They want to take something, but they want to take energy, because that's what it is. Money is energy. But when you're the one who's the predator, when you're the one who's the vampire, right? You're the one taking people's energy, or you can do it either through people or you can do it from source. I teach both. You have to make sure that you're not settling for low value people, offers, and environments. That's really important. Of course, that's also something you've probably already mastered when it comes to being a millionaire. I'm sorry, see? But it's a different level where you have to make sure that you're not just walking around, or at least if you're walking around in a space where, of course, people don't know you, so they don't know you're a billionaire, you have to make sure that you're always wearing black or red. You want to use the energy of Saturn to create sustainable, long-lasting wealth, of course. So it is, protected, and it creates a legacy. But yeah, when you're walking around, especially, that's the thing. That's why I also teach how to do faceless marketing, because you don't want to walk around, and people know who you are. And of course, sometimes it's hard because you're in the public space. If you are in the public space, of course, you have to hang out in very upscale, exclusive environments. You have no choice. But if you have a faceless brand, then of course you can walk around freely. And as a woman specifically, you have to make sure that the men around you, your husband, your friends, like nobody has to know how much you're earning, because here's the thing, it's going to change their behavior. Some people are attracted to these types of women to use them and abuse them, and of course at first they're very charming, so it's not going to look like that, but at some point they're going to start draining your bank accounts, your physical, sexual energy. So it's really important as a woman, if you're going to show your face on social media and show your real identity, please do not say how much money you're making. And sometimes it's very subtle. People are proud to just share, the sales they've made or the amount of people. Like, I get it. Trust me, I get it. But that's why when you do a faceless brand, then your face and your name and your identity is not connected to it. You know what I'm saying? So if you're on a date, as a woman, you can just lie and say, that you're a dental assistant, a receptionist, a teacher, like a freelance marketer. Like, you can lie and say these, lower income jobs. So at least you know that the man that's sitting in front of you is not there for the wrong reasons, okay? So yeah, you have to be really mindful when it comes to who you're letting into your space, of course. Stop being so trusting. Stop giving people chances and the benefit of a doubt. There's no reason for you to seek validation and love and friendship through other people. You can do that by yourself. And the cool thing about that is when you seek that through yourself, naturally people are going to mirror that frequency anyway. So that's how you balance the energies around you. So of course you have to say no to distractions, time wasters. So anything that lowers your frequency, you can only engage in luxurious, expansive, and aligned conversations, investments, and relationships. All right. Another tip is to have this investment and expansion mindset. So of course, a lot of people think that not when you're a millionaire, but below that, usually people use the word expensive as something that's negative, like, oh my God, this is really expensive, right? But they don't even know what they're saying. Expensive mean you're expanding your energy. So it's actually something you have to be grateful for and thankful for. And that's the huge difference between, the different tax bracket. So instead of saying, but even as a millionaire, sometimes we have these like larger investments, and instead of thinking how much does this cost, you can think how much does this expand me? That's the real question. So of course, when you invest in yourself, your business, and your energy without hesitation, so that's really important, the frequency that you're in when you're spending, because you trust your return. So you can even set the intention already while you're making that investment. You can set the intention of the end results while you're doing the purchase, okay? Another part of that mindset as well is to see money as a flowing river and not a limited resource, because that's how most people are brainwashed. They think that money is a limited resource, but money is actually abundant, especially now with the quantum. Most of it is digital. So, it's even easier, I think, to visualize how limitless money is, because it's not even paper anymore. It's a number like on a computer, and it's not even physically in the bank. So it's literally in the quantum. And when money is in the quantum, it's limitless. There's no limit to it. That's why when people steal, it's usually people who have this scarcity mindset. It's usually people who feel disconnected from their own divinity, because their brain doesn't even understand that they don't have to steal money. They can just create it in their own life, All right. Another tip is to have a magnetic presence and influence, okay? So to embody the billionaire, you have to be a walking embodiment of abundance, okay? Your aura has to speak before you do. And one of the ways that you can rise your frequency and have a more magnetic aura is what you eat. Okay, of course, like the music, your environment, like we know that, but especially what you eat. The less meat you're going to eat, the higher your frequency is going to be, because when you're eating meat, this is actually good when you're working on your root chakra, in the beginning stages of your life, usually, when you're setting yourself up for the future. But then when you get into the second chakra, the sacral chakra, this is more Venusian. You have to work with this higher frequency, and you cannot have these you can't have this, like, all this processed food and meat. This is very, like, grounding, and processed food is very toxic for the body. So you have to make sure that you have a clear vessel. So to have a lot of alive food, so fruits, vegetables, nuts, water, of course. But yeah, try to stay away from anything that's animal related, so dairy, meat, or if you can, or if you don't want to remove all of it from your nutrition, you can do it slowly, step by step. You can start with one day where you're not eating any sort of animal products, and you're going to notice a shift as well, in your energy too. When it comes to magnetic presence, you want to make sure that you inspire wealth, power, and attraction just by being in a room. And yes, it has to do with your aura, but it also has to do with how you're dressed as well. So you want to make sure that you're always dressed impeccable in a timeless, very elegant manner. And especially as a woman, you want to make sure that you're wearing colors, depending on where you are, of course, because colors are very magnetic. So when I say you have to wear black, in most cases, is that black is a very protective color, and it's a very powerful color as well. It's the color of source, color of the goddess. But when you're, I don't know, let's say you're on a vacation and, in this beautiful 5-star hotel, then you want to make sure that you're wearing very colorful clothing, because, you're in a space where you're already protected, you're already in an exclusive space. And now you can, dress more feminine, and just, allow yourself to get really into alignment with that goddess energy. Another thing as well, when it comes to magnetic presence, is that you don't try to prove your value, and people just feel it, okay? When people talk too much and people feel the need to say, this is who I am, and blah, 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 it usually tells us that this person has to prove themselves. They have to feel worthy. But the less you say, and the more people can feel your presence, the more they're gonna respect it and they're gonna value it. It almost brings mystery to your presence as well, which is really important. Something as well that's really important too is to have daily habits of wealth consciousness. Okay, so you wake up every single day expecting abundance. You make financial decisions from overflow, not survival. You also continuously elevate your surroundings, network, brand, so you're constantly evolving. That's also very unique to millionaires and billionaires, because when it comes to the masses, most people are in survival mode, and any form of change, and even if it's good change, is perceived as a threat or something dangerous. That's why when you see these videos about AI, AI taking over, it's always the masses who are afraid of AI because they're in survival mode. Pardon me. Taking a sip of water because I'm talking a lot today. You also want to engage in pleasure, beauty, and luxury daily. This is going to reinforce the feeling of wealth. This can be done in any way, shape, or form that feels good to you. Another tip is to have unbreakable spiritual and energetic mastery. You understand that money is energy and you command it with intention, okay? You know how to tap into divine flow and shift reality at will. And also, you're unfazed by temporary delays because you're deeply rooted in trust and power. And the final activation when it comes to embodying the billionaire codes, the billionaire energy, the billionaire frequency, is that to truly embody this wealth identity, you have to ask yourself, what decisions would I make today if I already had $1 billion? How would I carry myself, speak, move, and invest? Would I worry about anything? Or would I create from a place of play, pleasure, and power? And then, of course, you have to start living from that place right now, today. Because wealth is not waiting. It's about embodying the energy first, and then reality catches up. So, so this is everything I had to say today about the Billionaire Codes. If you're interested, of course, you can look into the Hathor Mystery School. My cat is being very loud right now. So let me know if you have any questions about anything that I said today. And of course, I would be extremely happy to see you inside the Hathor Mystery School. And I'll see you in the next episode.